He ran through the fields until he got to the nearest bus stop and hopped off onto the first bus. The bus was almost full except for one seat next to Constable Cottontail. "Help!" he cried as the boat dropped away from underneath him. He held onto the magic jewel for dear life. He couldn't let it slip from his grasp after all this. He fell into the cold, icy water. Butch swam to the edge of the river. He realized that he was no longer in the enchanted forest.
"Why, hello, how are you today, Butch?"
asked Constable Cottontail as Butch plopped down beside him, too exhausted to worry about suspicion.
"Why, I'm okay, I guess, Constable,"
replied Butch.
"What happened to you? Why are you all wet?" "Oh, I had to save a drowning child, so I had to jump into the river,"
Butch replied.
"You're a good man, Butch. You've already saved Grandma and Red, and now a drowning child. I'll talk to the town council about giving you a citizenship award for being, so not scared, yeah,"
Constable Cottontail said cheerfully.
"Why, thank you kindly, Constable,"
replied Butch. Abruptly, the bus went over an enormous bump, and everyone in the bus flew up into the air and landed back down with a crash. As they landed, the magic jewel that Butch had been hiding in his very large woodcutter hands slipped out of his grasp and landed down in the aisle. Constable Cottontail bent over, picked the jewel up, and handed it back to Butch.
"You nearly lost something there, Butch,"
he exclaimed.
"Oh, why, thank you, sir,"
Butch replied and hurriedly shoved the magic jewel into his soggy pocket. The bus slowly came to a stop.
"It's my stop,"
Butch exclaimed and hopped off. He made his way to the airport and landed a few hours later in a sunny spot in the Caribbean. In the meantime, Grandma and Red were enjoying the sun and sand in Hawaii. However, Red started to feel homesick and begged Grandma to go home to the enchanted forest. Grandma gave in and told Red they could go back. The next day they flew home. As the plane got closer to land, they noticed that something wasn't right. It looked like the enchanted forest had disappeared. As they made their way to Grandma's cottage, they noticed that the trees had almost melted away. The ground was bare and all the forest creatures disappeared.
"Oh, Grandma, what happened?"
Red cried in despair. "I don't know, but I'm going to find out," said a puzzled and worried Grandma.
"The magic jewel! Someone must have stolen it! Didn't we tell Butch to phone us if there was anything wrong? Wait, but no! Grandma, do you think he stole it?" "He must have. I knew there was something weird about him,"
Red muttered, suspicion lurking in her eyes. "Oh, don't be silly," Grandma scolded her. "Something must have happened, but I hope Butch is all right." When they reached Grandma's cottage, they rushed to check the toilet. They were shocked that the magic jewel was gone.
"That sneaky thief!"
exclaimed Red.
"I've got to find him and save the enchanted forest."
Grandma switched on her cell phone, beginning to believe Red, and called Constable Cottontail. She explained that the magic jewel was gone, and she thought Butch might have taken it.
"Butch the handsome woodcutter,"
replied a shocked Constable Cottontail.
"I can't believe it. He's a hero and is going to receive the citizenship award for being so not scared."
"Constable, Butch is not who you think he is. Have you seen him?"
"Why, yes, heading to the airport. As a matter of fact, he was soaking wet and had a beautiful toilet handle with him,"
Hugh replied. "Aha! Red was right. He is a sneaky thief." Grandma hung up the phone and said, "Red, get the crystal ball. We've got to find Butch." As they scrutinized the crystal ball, Grandma muttered a spell. "Magic ball before me here. Let us see if Butch lies near." The mist cleared from the crystal ball, and they saw Butch lounging on a white sandy beach in St. Bart's in the Caribbean, drinking a cocktail with an umbrella in it. Red and Grandma dashed back to the airport and got on the first plane to St. Bart's. They soon tracked Butch down to an exclusive resort and spa that only the rich and famous go to. They wandered about until they finally saw him lounging on a sandy beach, tanning himself under the blazing hot sun. Grandma and Red hid behind a palm tree and watched for a while as they racked their brains, trying to figure out how to catch him. Butch caught Red's eye and hopped onto the nearest jet ski on the shore. Red raced after him and jumped onto another jet ski. He tried to outrun her, but Red outsmarted him because she grabbed the only jet ski with any gasoline left. He raced away, but eventually his jet ski made jetting noises and gradually came to a stop.
"Come on,
he screamed as he pulled the choke. But it wouldn't go. Red pulled up next to him. She jumped onto the jet ski behind him and pushed him down hard on the handlebars. Butch saw stars. The police arrived and dragged Butch back to the shore. They dumped him on the sand, and Red put her foot on his back and cried, "Busted!" Butch was arrested and sentenced to 20 years in prison for being an international jewel thief, confessing that he had been the crook the forest creatures had feared. Grandma and Red went back to the enchanted forest and fixed the toilet with the magic jewel, and the forest became green again. And they all lived happily ever after, except for Butch, of course. The end.